products has ended prematurely at the Senate chambers. KTN's Brian George Otieno had a sit in the meeting now and now joins us live from the Senate. Brian, good morning, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us here on KTN News Desk. So why did the meeting end so prematurely?
That's right, Brenda. The meeting had been earlier convened by Senate Energy Committee Chair, that is Ephraim Maina, who also doubles up as Nyeri Senator. And in the meeting, they were expected to discuss about the petroleum prices and the gas prices, cooking gas prices, commonly known as the liquefied petroleum gases. Of course, this has come at a time when the economy has been really battered and Kenyans are complaining about the high taxes. Remember, the taxman Kirera is introducing 16% VAT on matters, on cooking gas, and so that is going to shoot the cost of cooking gas so high. And now the other question that the Senate committee was asking the Energy Petroleum Regulatory Authority Managing Director, that is Daniel Kipto Bargoria, is that why do we as Kenya pay so much for petroleum prices, here in Kenya, yet our neighbors, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, theirs is relatively lower? So the question still comes back to taxation. And in this same meeting, CS Ukuriatani, who is CS for Treasury, is supposed to be here to respond to this. John Munyes, who is CS for Petroleum, was supposed to be here to respond to some of these questions. They did not show up, otherwise being represented by the CAS, that is the Chief Administrative Secretary for Petroleum, that is Mr. Mosonik. He was the one who was here. But now some of the questions needed the attention of the Cabinet Secretary for Petroleum and also the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, who is Ukuriatani. And Uyatani is now on a bilateral event that is happening in the UK with President Uhuru Kenyatta. They are signing some trade deals there. That is why he was not able to make it here. But CS John Munes also did not make it here, but rather sent CAS Mosonik. Now, the issues touching on taxation was supposed to be responded to by the Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukuriatani. And the other issues concerning matters of petroleum and energy and cooking gas was supposed to be responded to by the CS John Munyes. That is why the meeting has ended prematurely. But then the other question was, the other issue that cropped up in the meeting was the issue of the consolidated fund for energy that is supposed to harmonize some of these, prices of the petroleum and the cooking gases. They are saying, IPRA is saying that fund is actually operational, and yet energy prices are still going high. So really, the meeting ended prematurely. We were not able to get to a conclusive end to all these issues, but they have said that they are convening another meeting next week to talk about them, and then we'll now have a conclusive report to give to the viewer. Back to you in studio.
All right, Brian, just before I let you go, so when Mr. Daniel Kipto from the Energy Regulatory Authority appeared before that Senate committee, was there probably a light at the end of the tunnel in terms of maybe the country looking into a brighter future in terms of this precious commodity, the price going down lower than what we have now?
I'm afraid not, Brenda, because you see, the KRA is keen on collecting taxes and meeting its obligations. Remember, KRA has, the national budget rather is at around 3.62 trillion this year. That, the revenue projections are about over 1 trillion. And so all of this has to be met by taxes. We have seen the taxman going being pretty much aggressive in trying to, get revenue for the country to meet its projects, targets, to meet its development operations. And remember, there's also a legacy to secure for the president in his last term. So in introspect, Brenda, we may not be seeing anything anytime soon for the Kenyans to breathe a sigh of relief. As far as cooking gas, petroleum is concerned, we were lucky enough last time that the petroleum prices rather did not go high. But as for cooking gas, I think it's a sealed deal. The deal has already been sealed, and we'll just have to contend with that. Currently, for a 6 kg gas refilling, you'll have to part with at least another 350 shillings. So that really, brings, puts that commodity far from the reach of the common mwananchi, if you may, and they're just, tough times ahead. Kenyans should really brave for tough times ahead, because, to be honest, to answer your question once again, we are not seeing any light at the end of the tunnel. Really, the 16% VAT is here to stay, because Treasury has to meet, KRA has to meet its tax targets, its revenue targets for development projects. Brenda.
And the last question, as we bring this conversation to an end with you, Brian Jojo Otieno, there are concerns that probably cartels within the petroleum industry are somehow trying to control the petroleum prices. Did that come up during the meeting?
That did not really come up, and if it did, it was a little subtle, because the question on taxation still is the one that makes all these prices to go really high. Look, Brenda, if we are there are different kinds of taxation and levies that go into importation, storage, transportation, and the final last mile distribution to the user, to the mwananchi. That is now where we are able to fuel our vehicles. That is now where we are now able to, go and get cooking gases refilled at the filling station. So, compared to other jurisdictions, I'm talking about Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, we are paying way, way high, because the landing cost at the port of Mombasa is about 45 shillings, thereabout. So when it comes over to this side, the landing cost of we're talking about diesel. Petrol is not so far from that. And so now the question comes in, why is it so highly taxed? And these were some of the questions that the two respective CSs, that is CS John Munyes for petroleum and the Treasury CS Ukur Yatani, were to respond to right here before the Senate Committee on Energy about those taxation issues, the levies that are being put on the petroleum products. Now the cost has to be absorbed by the mwananchi. So now the questions that they were supposed to respond to, they are not here to respond to them, because one, Ukur Yatani is in an international assignment. CS John Munyes sent a representative, and they were not able to respond to these questions substantively, at least to the advantage of the mwananchi, or for the understanding of why these energy prices keep going higher. And so really, the question about cartels was subtle. It was not really, it was being said in hushed tones, if you may. But what we understand is that we are paying way too high because of matters of taxation right here in Kenya. If you compare the prices, once again, I do not have the exact figures, but if you compare the prices in Uganda and Tanzania, here in Kenya, yet we are, we have a seaport, we are really paying highly compared to now Uganda, which is a landlocked country, Brenda.
Yeah, and you're very right, Brian Jojo Otieno, because Kenya also acts as a transit to Uganda when it comes to the passage of petroleum products. Yeah, it's really sad.
Exactly,
sad.
Brenda.
All right, thank you so much, Brian Jojo Otieno, our business anchor here on KTN, here in KTN News, just giving us reasons as to why that Senate meeting ended prematurely. That's because Ukur Yatani and John Munyes were not around to answer to some pertinent question when it comes to the 16% VAT that has been put on petroleum products.